Hello guys, welcome to my first draft video. We will take a look at the draft here of the G2 vs Alliance matchup. G2's first ban was the Thresh. I feel like it is an okay ban. Obviously they were scared that Alliance would have picked it in R1 or R2, otherwise they could have picked up Thresh themselves here. So maybe something in scrims happened that Kaiser maybe performed really well on Thresh. Or they just thought Thresh was really OP. I mean, he is obviously strong. He helps a lot of AD carries. So I do think that this ban is viable. Next ban, the first ban from Mad Lions was the Azir, which is in my eyes not smart, because Azir, they wouldn't first pick Azir, because there are always picks that are better in first pick. So you could rather either pick it yourself here in R1 or R2, or G2 would pick it here, B2 put B3, and then you could respond with a pick yourself in R3. For example, Corki, Veigar, Kassadin, they all do fine against Azir. Maybe something like Cassio as well. So I feel like Azir ban wasn't really that smart. The next ban was the Senna from G2. So again, I don't really think that Senna at the moment is particularly strong. Yeah, I do think that there are certain counter picks or certain matchups where Senna will struggle. Something like Syndra obviously is great here against Senna, or other picks as well. So I feel like, for example, Caitlyn is also, at least in the early levels, pretty good against Senna. Mad Lions then responded with a Syndra ban, which obviously is really smart, and for sure you have to ban Syndra against G2. They just, especially because if G2 is first pick, they could pick it here, and then they could either play it mid lane or bot lane, and obviously Caps and Perks are both very good Syndra plays, so I think this makes a lot of sense. The last ban from G2 was the Ezreal. Again, something that G2 probably didn't want to play against. Ezreal Yumi, probably, I guess, which would have been picked up here. Maybe Kazi and Kaiser played that in scrims. I'm obviously not sure about that. They also probably didn't want to play against Ezreal, as they probably want to focus around bot lane. This is what that ban suggests. Last ban from Mad Lions. Mad Lions has now the problem that there are two very OP champs still available. It's the Graves and the Varus. So if you would ban the Varus, obviously G2 can then pick Graves, and if Graves is banned, then they could pick up Varus. Another option is that you don't ban Varus or Graves. For example, you ban, let's just say you ban Kalista. Then G2 has to decide if they want to pick Varus or Graves. So if they decide for Varus, then you could just pick Graves yourself. So basically both of the teams then have a very strong pick, and otherwise, obviously, if they pick Graves, you can play Varus. There are responses to both picks, and I feel like this is just the best option. Mid Lions, though, they banned the Graves away, so G2 very free Varus first pick here. Mad Lions responds with the Kalista. Obviously, it's a pick where Kazi feels very confident on. I don't feel like this really is a flex pick at all. Rome isn't the type of player that would play Kalista. I don't think that Kalista will be played in mid lane as well. So I feel like, shows clearly the AD carry. Varus, obviously the poke Varus. As ranges Kalista, Kalista wins early game, but Varus takes over mid to late game. They also respond with the LEC, which I was unsure of if G2 maybe would have wanted to ban that away. Shadow obviously is Shadow really likes playing LEC and plays it a lot, but that obviously also knew G2, and they then responded with Rek'Sai, which obviously does really well into LEC and basically denies LEC Since ultimately, since kick, and really makes the life difficult for Lee Sin if Rek'Sai is around. Lee Sin can't really engage at all and can't really try to make a play. They also pick up the Zoe, which also makes a lot of sense. So you have Varus and Zoe, both are poke champions, and synergize quite well together. Mid Lions then respond with the Orianna, where I feel like it's a fine pick, but I feel like there were better options. Orianna obviously has a shield, so she can deny some damage from Varus and from Zoe, and if she takes Phase Rush, she's quite fast, so it's good against Rek'Sai's engage early on. But I feel like that you could have picked better champions. For example, I think that Veigar would have been a very good pick here. Neither Varus nor Zoe have any type of disengage. They don't have a dash. I mean, Zoe has her R, but she still comes back at the same spot. So you could Veigar catch them. Obviously they have a lot of range, which does counter Veigar in a way. But you also deny Rek'Sai here. So I feel like Veigar is a possible pick. It's for sure not the greatest. You could also play Cassio to deny Rek'Sai and a little bit of Zoe, so she can't really air then as well. And you obviously slow down Varus, but also here Cassio does have problems when she gets outranged. You could also consider Corki here, which would make a lot of sense here as well, because obviously you have Kalista and you have Lee Sin, both champions that are the best in the early game, and then you have a late game insurance with Corki that would outscale them. If you then would have picked here a tank here or here that can absorb some of the poke from them, then you could for sure at least fight them in mid to late game fights. But they decided to go Orianna, which means that they have quite a good mid game with those three champions. But also G2 has also a good mid game, and for sure G2 will outscale them. So at the moment, Alliance has to get ahead early. Alliance's first ban of the second phase was Karma, which I think is a good ban. They don't really want to give away another poke champion to G2. Obviously Karma, especially early game, is quite good against Kalista. Kalista is quite short range, and it's easy for Karma to hit a Qs on Kalista. G2 responds with a Onman, which is the kind of late game that I was talking about that Mad Lions needs. And they also have a tank, which can absorb some of the damage from Varus and Zoe. So exactly what I talked about, G2 bans that away. Mad Lions' last ban was the Braum. A ban that I don't agree on at all. I think that this ban is kind of wasted. I mean, obviously, you kind of deny the Kalista spears, but I don't really think that. And you obviously kind of protect the Varus. So since Mad Lions wants to play aggressive, they probably thought they could ban away the Braum. But I think if you want to ban away a supportive champion that would help Varus so have the lane, then I would rather ban away the Tahm Kench, which is way more safe, which gives him more safety also later in the game. But they decided to ban the Braum, which I don't really agree on. G2 then, their last ban was the Malphite, another tank, which is very good against Varus and Zoe. Can absorb all the damage. Not that kind of late game helping, but you obviously can still pick up a. I mean, you can't really. It's good for team fights. Let's say it like that. And also Malphite obviously is really good against Varus. Varus has no escape, as I already said, and Malphite can just R him. And Varus, if he doesn't have flash, he basically is dead with Orianna. So I think it's a smart ban. Balance then picks up Wukong, where I feel like there could have been better options. Wukong is another early game focused champion, so which basically suggests that Mad Lions they have to get ahead early already. There isn't really a support that would now help getting a good late game. So they say, alright, first 50 minutes, if we don't get ahead 5k gold, we lost the game. And then I feel like it's not really smart to do. You could have picked up Maokai here to at least have some kind of tankiness against them. Maka obviously also good against Zoe. She can't really R that freely, and Varus obviously has no escape. So they haven't picked up a tank, so nobody can retank the Maokai R. We could have also played Aatrox here for a little bit more aggressiveness. Aatrox also fine against those champions, but he isn't tanky, and if he gets hit by one Varus Q or one Zoe Q or E, he basically is dead. So I feel like Maokai would have made the more sense here, but they picked up the Wukong, so they don't have the tank at all, unless they pick Nautilus or something like that here. And even Nautilus support isn't that tanky, only if he has Aftershock, and even then, yeah, just with the level discrepancy, I feel like yeah, that's not a good pick. Or is at least not that tanky. So yeah, you should have picked tank here, or at least not like an early game focused champion. G2 then responds with the Tahm Kench, which I was already talking about. I feel like would have been the better ban here. Maybe they would have picked the Braum then, but I think Tahm Kench makes the most sense. Obviously protects Varus. Kalista wants to hard win the landing phase, and you can't really do that if there's a Tahm Kench denying it. And they also pick up the Mordekaiser, which obviously, I mean, it's fine. We have like two semi-tanks here with Tahm Kench and Mordekaiser that can absorb some of the damage coming out of them. Mordekaiser is doing fine into Wukong, not too bad. You also have the problem that Mordekaiser can take just armor boots and then denies a lot of damage from Lee Sin and from Wukong, while you have like mixed damage in top lane and mid lane with the Rek'Sai jungle and then 2 AP picks. So there's not really like ways to really absorb a lot of damage. So an AP pick makes a lot of sense, especially because you already have Rek'Sai and Varus to do 80 damage. You could have also picked up Ken, but I feel like Wukong has to get closer, so he can get onto Ken. So I feel like Mordekaiser is quite a decent pick. You also could have picked up Maokai yourself to kind of deny the Kalista and the Mordekaiser, the Lee Sin, but I mean Mordekaiser is also fine. And then last pick from Reliance is probably the only pick, or at least one of the only picks where I feel like they did a good job. Blitzcrank is very good against Varus, Zoe, and Tahm Kench. If Tahm Kench eats someone, Blitzcrank Qs him, and he gets pulled with him. But or you just you know can Q Varus, and yeah, he's dead. But even then, you have to instantly burst him, unless otherwise Tahm Kench can like flash in and devour him or something, or just devours while he hooks. I feel like Blitzcrank is a good pick here. But overall, looking at the team comps, G2 for sure wins this draft. Very hard. They have a very good comp, and Midlines can't really do anything against them after 25 minutes. So yeah, Midlines just yeah, they fucked themselves up because they can't do shit after 20 minutes, while G2 just has to wait for the first 10-15 minutes and then pick up some fights which they could win again, around the river with Rek'Sai, Zoe, Wesley Sin, Orianna, which and then maybe coming in a Tahm Kench, Varus, or GP. So I feel like yeah, after the first 15-20 minutes, G2 for sure wins, and since I don't feel like G2 would let someone yeah, someone like Mad Lions, a team like Mad Lions, screw them up in the early game, I think yeah, G2 for sure wins the draft. I hope you enjoyed the first video of the draft analysis. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next time.